Tonight's show is about xenotransplantation. Xenotransplantation is animal organs being transplanted into human beings. That's what it is. Pig hearts, specifically in tonight's show. And it's weird because one of the big companies that's pushing this forward is a company called Novartis that you might be familiar with, who are a big GM company. And a few years ago, the company that was to become Novartis commissioned a report from the Solomon Brothers, which is this enormous financial institution in America. And it's on the unrecognised potential of xenotransplantation. And in this report, they boldly predict that the pig heart transplant market, by the year 2010, is going to be worth $5 billion a year. 5 billion. People all across the city of London, buy pig hearts now! Get out of baboons' asses and into pig hearts! And in this report, they actually say that they're going to charge $12,000 per pig heart. Right? And the markup, the profit the company is going to make on this sale of the pig heart alone is 1,100% profit. Calling Ann Robinson, watchdog special on the pig heart. And you just think, this is amazing, because what they're going to do is they've genetically modified the pig heart, and they breed them in these biosecure units, and what they're going to do with the carcass, the Solomon Brothers reports proposes you obviously can't then sell the carcass for human food after we've plundered the heart. No, you can't do that, but we think we can flog it to the cat food market. Which is great. So you've got the heart, feed the cat. It's just $12,000, 50p a tin. That's fair. So it's not just that's just the money for the pig hearts. That's how much it costs for the pig hearts. There's a whole load of drugs that they've got to sell with it. The immunosuppressant drugs. Because, surprisingly, if you get a pig heart and put it in a human body, the body just turns into Eddie Murphy. Get the fuck out of here. You know, that's what it does. So they have to pump it full of these drugs and essentially get the nervous system and all the other organs stoned. That's what they do, and they just go, oh, there's a pig heart, come in. It's pig! Oh, wow! And maybe they're a little bit eat up organ going, it's beating, man, look, it's beating, you know. And it is just bizarre, because I don't want to sound like a Luddite, but it's unnatural. Bits of animals shouldn't be in humans, and vice versa. That's why we have laws against that kind of thing. And one of the things they're really worried about is a thing called retroviruses. And they're viruses which are latent within the pig cells, which the pig has had thousands of years of evolution to cope with, that might reactivate if you put it into a human. And suddenly you've got a completely new disease you've never seen before. And it happened with BSE and CJD. AIDS, HIV came from primates. It's happened with swine fever, 1920. Oh, yeah. From swine. Sorry to patronise you, but thought I'd better tell you. And that killed more people than the First World War. And you just think, we're not ready for a new disease. That's, I don't know, elephant Alzheimer's or I don't know, baboon flatulence. I don't know. It's going to affect all of us. So we went along. We wanted to sort of meet people and talk to them about this. And we went along to a meeting of Uxira. And it's great, it sounds great. It's Uxira, warrior queen. That's what it sounds like. But it actually stands for the UK Xenotransplantation Interim Regulatory Authority. It's better with the warrior queen, I think, personally. And we get there, and it's one of these meetings that is open to the public if you found the site on the website and applied for tickets on a Monday afternoon. So we went along, because all these scientists are sitting there, and these people on the regulatory board are all sitting at their thing, and they get up and give little speeches. They talk about biosecure units for pigs. And they talk about, well, we've heard rumour that in Russia some of these organ transplants have happened already, so we have to get our skates on. Because the government have cleared it ethically, they're just waiting for the regulatory authority to say, go on the trials. And I'm sitting there in this thing, and it's full of all these doctors, and there's quite a lot of non-government organisations there. And I was sitting with the doctors, and when anyone from any of the NGOs said, I've got a question I'd like to ask about animal welfare, I've got a question I'd like to ask about pandemic diseases or anything like that, you just hear these doctors around me going, who let Swampy in? Shouldn't they be tunnelling somewhere? So I'm sitting there, and they get to this point where they take questions. I've put my hand up, just asked this one bloke, John Dark, about his financial links with industry.
I have no financial link at all with Novartis, other than that they sometimes aid my attendance at scientific meetings, as they do for many people in the transplant world.
But that is a financial link, isn't it?
I have no financial link with Novartis here today.
But you do have a financial link with Novartis.
As do many people in the transplant world.
And what we've done is we've taken a friend of ours with us. There's a mate of ours called Ricky Grover, who's a comedian and actor, and he used to be a boxer and a hairdresser. So, it's true. So he's quite handy, but he's got flair. And I said, oh, by the way, I wanted to know, have you actually met anyone who's had an animal organ transplant? And Ricky just stands up on the other side of the room and goes, I have!
I've actually got sheep's kidneys. Now I'll say it and I'll listen to your long words. And I'll tell you now, alright, you might look at me and laugh. It's not funny, I want to rush you anymore. I'm quite upset with it actually. We're supposed to be 5 brains, 4 brains and 6 pairs of jeans I've got it for. But I had the operation and my life's been a living hell.
No, don't laugh at me. I've got to shave my back of wool every 5 hours. Oh, don't you... I mean, it comes in handy for the jumpers, but don't you laugh at me.
I ended up in the vets the other day. I woke up on the table, Rolf Harris was crying. Yeah, Rolf Harris was there crying. I don't know what I'm going for. No, don't count me down.
And this goes on for 3 minutes, which is a long time in the meeting. And by the end of it, there's all these bouncers surrounding me. He's on a chair with a banana going...
Thank you very much, all of you, for your attendance.
Can someone get a vet? I feel. Are you a vet? All right, thank you. Will you shake my hand? Thank you.
Suddenly, Lord Habgood, the ex-Archbishop of York, right, has dashed from the podium and has grabbed hold of the camera. Sorry, can we take that? That's a proper thing. No. Hand that back. Give me that film. Give me... And he's like 6'6" of inbred cleric. Give me that film. Give me this film. And I'd say, look, you can't take the film. It's property of Channel 4. That'll be theft. Just leave it alone. Don't muck around, because otherwise we'll call the police. It's got this look of utter, you commoner. And suddenly I'm just surrounded by all these doctors and scientists and Ministry of Health officials going, what are you doing? You are so irresponsible to realise if you broadcast that material you're going to kill people. You'll cost people their lives, you idiot. And I was, why? What's it? Well, the public won't understand. Because all these doctors and these scientists and researchers have got this attitude of, oh, well, the public don't understand science, you see. That's why we shouldn't tell them anything. We shouldn't, you see. If you went around saying to people, oh, they're going to shove pig hearts into human beings, there's going to be a massive retrovirus activation and everyone's going to go mad, they'd think we were utterly crazy. Yeah, funny that. And so we tried to do an interview with a Liberal Democrat spokesperson and the camera was bust. Right, because this is the first time, Lord Habgood is the first time I've ever had any physical confrontation. For all the filming, and the first time it kicks off, it's with the ex-Archbishop of York. I went up to this Ministry of Health. I want him here, now. The camera's broken. Get him. What do you mean it's broken? It's broken. Go and get the bloke. OK. Lord Habgood comes over. Well, there seems to be a problem. Yes, you've broken the camera. This is criminal damage. Well, I didn't touch it. Don't lie. Well, no, I didn't touch it. I only jabbed a few buttons, so you did touch it. Well, right, what's your name? And suddenly all these health officials go, it's all right, we'll sort it, Mark, don't worry, we'll sort it. And so he sort of wanders off, and we think, we hoped we'd be able to get a few interviews with people, but it appeared we'd burnt our bridges. So... we were waiting outside and we'd sort of prepared something, because if you're lined up for a clinical trial for a pig heart, you have to sign this contract that basically says you will not have unsafe sex, you promise not to have children, and you will keep all the close relatives and people in close contact with you must be monitored by doctors, just in case a virus creates and jumps. And we thought, well, let's try it, which is a bit of a downer for a chat-up line, isn't it, all of that? Good news is I'm hung like a Hoover. bad news is you're going to see the doctor for a year. So we'd prepared and we'd created these virus protective outfits. And they're like silver day-glow outfits with hoods and masks with these huge, great cod pieces sewn on them. Lord Habgood, the good news is we think we've got the camera working again, so that's very good news. The other good news is we've designed this little kit here for people so that there's no chance of sort of like virus and things like that being passed on to other people. What do you think to the kit? What do you think to the kit? Because there is a risk of virus being transmitted, isn't there?
I don't think your programme is going to be very fun.
Now, out the corner of my eye, I saw my mate dry humping the ex-Archbishop of York. And people say, Mark, but, you know, you say this, they're worried about it, you know, industry is driving this thing, there's loads of issues that haven't been addressed, like animal welfare, to ethics, to the safety of people, you know, to financing. But what's the answer, Mark? Well, I'll show you the answer. Can we put the answer up, please? This is the answer. There you go. That's what the answer is. It's called a donor card, and it gives people the chance to live after you die. And in Belgium, they've actually gone one step further. In Belgium, they had a big public debate, and they changed the law. So instead of signing a card to opt in to donor your organs, in Belgium, it's assumed that if you die, you've naturally given your consent to donate your organs unless you opt out. And you can fill in a card and register for your organs not to be given to other people. And in Belgium, they have doubled the organs available for transplant with that scheme, which is pretty fucking good. And the Labour government said, no, we can't do that because it raises too many ethical issues. And as you know from their foreign policy, ethics isn't their strong suit. So I want to show you another bit of the report. This is what they project will happen. Human donoring declines, as you can see. Pig hearts take off. Human hearts, boo. Pig hearts, hurrah. And on the front of the report, they've included a quote from George Orwell, Animal Farm. Seriously, you can check this out in a minute. And the quote is, this is really reassuring. The quote is, the creatures outside looked from pig to man and from man to pig and from pig to man again. But already it was impossible to say which was which. We wanted to talk to some of the companies involved in this work, and there's a company called Immutron who are owned by Novartis, and they've got it's really weird. They've got their headquarters up in Cambridge, their research headquarters up in Cambridge, and if you look, there's loads of biotech companies up in Cambridge, masses of them. Seriously, I reckon it's because if any experiments go wrong and people escape, they're close enough to Norfolk just to sort of blend in, you know. And we arrived up there, and I went into the lobby and said, hello, it's Mark Thomas from Channel 4. And this woman goes, yes, I saw you at Uxera. Yes, I did. And she disappeared before I could say, Warrior Queen! And she came back down and said, our chief executive will speak to you. I said, yeah, great. So we went in there, sit down, had a chat. I said, you know, this is a $5 billion, $6 billion according to some estimates. Some estimates are putting $5.5 billion just at the drugs.
Novartis Pharmaceuticals is a company. It has shareholders. It has people who are investing a considerable amount of money in the hope and expectation that you'll be able to bring forward new, novel medical therapies to the market. As with any other shareholder, and they do expect, in the end, to see a reasonable and fair reward for their, if you like, the risk that they're taking.
So I said, you're practically a charity then.
Pardon?
It's nearly a charity.
Novartis isn't a cause a charity, as I say.
Okay, sorry.
It invests the money of its shareholders in the hope that it'll come forward with novel medical treatments, which, if they work, will benefit patients, but will also benefit the company.
I said, no, I'm not having a go, because I support the pharmaceutical industry. I support you so much, I've designed this, and I've flipped up this big card we got made. This is the non-donor card, okay? And we believe this will help industry, okay, to actually maximise its economic and commercial viability of xenotransplantation. And so what we've got here is I request that after my death, kidneys, coroners, heart, lungs, liver, pancreas be shredded. You see, and pigs also used in their place. Or shred the whole body. Because what we've got is we've got we've got the ambulance outside, right? And we've got a shredder. And if someone carried around their non-donor card, then there's a small shredding unit that we've got at the back to ensure that they can't be used.
As I've said, I think it's very sad.
And then she turned to me and she said, and I can't tell when you're being serious and when you're not. And I'm like, yeah, and strangely enough, vice versa. And we said to her, look, how far are you on the research?
We know that a pig heart can support life in non-human primates, and that tells you actually that it does function.
So how long does it support them for?
In terms of our studies, what we're looking at now is a month's survival of the heart. Way
to go. You read their reports, they're ready for clinical trials already. The weird thing about it is that $12,500 a pig heart, how much take-up do you reckon? Even if you got rid of all the moral arguments, all the ethical arguments, and it actually worked, how much take-up do you reckon you'd get in the NHS with rationing as it is? $12,000 or a couple of bypasses. Which one should we do? So what you're going to end up with is even if all this stuff works, it will only be for the benefit with people with enough money. King's Road, you get nice rich people walking around, oh yes, got a colour-coordinated Louis Vuitton shark spleen. Ooh. They'll probably have a little glass case here so you can see the designer label, 30 years' time you'll be opening up Hello magazine. Posh and Becks invite us to see their new matching kidneys. That's what, meanwhile, if you're poor, it's, I've got a budgie heart. It's weird. I want to tell you about this other bit, because it opens up, the whole debate opens up into genetics and GM, and there's a thing called the Genome Project, which task is to map out all the genes in human beings and identify them. And there's another project which runs next door to it, which is Private Corporation, which does the same thing. And they're after finding the causes of diseases, the genetic causes of diseases. And once they've got the stuff, the information, they apply to patent it and then take it through to copyright. And the company are called Celera, and they have applied for 6,500 patents on the human body and diseases. And I know some of you are shaking your heads here and thinking this is sick and cruel, but I thought, fuck it, niche market, let's have a go. I thought we're going to form our own little sort of genome project to try and map MPs' genes and patent them. Sorry, it's just that we're after some genetic material. And if is there any chance of picking up any from you? Just a swab or a bit of hair or some dandruff? What, or if you've got time, semen would be handy. But that's we're after material because we're trying to get the pompous gene, and that's what we're after. And I'm sorry about this. It might hurt just a little bit. Okay, we're just gonna let's see if we can. Okay, you ready? It might hurt. Oh no, we didn't get one. Oh, I'm really sorry about this. Can I try again? Oh, you've got one there. Brilliant. Thank you ever so much. That's absolutely brilliant. What we're going to try and do with this, I think, is... I know what we could do. We can try and find the unthinkable gene.
Yeah, certainly could.
OK, that's what we'll try and do. We'll try and map out and see if we can find the unthinkable gene.
Send it to number 10 if you do.
Well, I've got hardly any hair left at all. I mean, it'd be really quite worrying for me to give you some of my hair. You'll see my hair's almost gone.
Well, we could take semen if you like.
Some what?
Semen. We could take
What's that?
Semen samples.
What's that?
You don't know what semen is?
No, certainly not.
Sperm.
Oh, goodness gracious, no.
It only involves a minute of your time, my little finger and a cupped hand.
No, I think actually, I'd rather, if you were going to do anything, I'd rather you take my hair, but I'm terribly short of hair.
See, if we got some genetic material from you, we could try and find the DNA that gave sound bites.
That gave sound bites?
Yeah, the genetic material that made human beings give sound bites.
Yeah, that's a thought.
We're collecting DNA material.
I don't know any stuff about that.
Can we collect some of yours? Just a little bit of sperm or something like that. All it just involved my little finger and a cupped hand. Is there any chance of that at all?
No.
Or a hair?
No, I've said not, but you're very kind. Thank you very much.
OK, so we're just trying to get the turncoat gene. That's what we're after. We're trying to sort of find it. There's a little addendum on the Genome Project where they say if we discover all the genes that make diseases, we'll be able to take them out and iron out all the kinks. We won't have sort of people who with disabilities anymore. And we think, well, have you asked people with disabilities how they feel about that? Because we talked to some mates of ours who are disabled, and they said, well, no, we don't like this idea at all, because it means our lives aren't as valuable. If you're trying to iron out all the kinks, what's my life worth? Am I less human? What constitutes a human? And so we thought, we need to go and speak to a minister about this, and we'll take our mates with us, because they want to ask the questions. And we eventually got Yvette Cooper, who is Minister for Public Health. It seemed to fall under her gaze, because these are the things she's responsible for: coronary heart disease, communicable diseases, ethical issues, genetics and gene therapy. And we thought, seems to fall under her remit a tad. This is Tom Shakespeare and Pauline Guthrie.
Hi.
We just wanted to, they want to ask you a few questions if it's possible.
What we need to do, if you want to contact the department, obviously we'll make sure that...
You know as well as I do that
questions
you
will be
won't
answered.
We wanted to know really whether you could talk to us a bit about the xenotransplantation policy.
Right.
Because we feel that the way it's happening isn't really taking account of the real social needs and health.
Okay.
All the money going into biotechnology and so forth, whereas, this flu epidemic and the people not being able to get hospital beds and everything.
Sorry.
It seemed to us that putting money into big sort of high-tech medical solutions when ordinary health needs weren't being met was a bit of a sort of strange set of priorities, and that it was about profit, not about people.
Okay. What you'll need to do is, if you want to contact the department...
But you're the health minister. You do
this is, this is my surgery time. It's a Saturday morning.
Hold on. She's great, because she's saying, this is my surgery time, it's time for constituents. So she ignores her constituents for an hour, probably getting a briefing from the Labour Party on what to do. And also, there's a great look, because she could dismiss me and just go, if you want to, phone the press office. But there's a little look there. And possibly this thought went through her mind. Got rid of Thomas, but if I shove the midget, I'm in deep shit.
What about the loads of people in your constituency or where we live, who are dying of heart conditions because of poverty and because of bad housing and stuff like that?
If you can't contact the Department of Health Press Office...
Yeah. But you're the government, it's your priority.
You know that what will happen is they'll say, thanks for calling, Mark. We'll consider it.
I've got surgery
and they won't.
to do.
I know, yeah, but when you finish your surgery, is it possible that we... So the question that Tom and Pauline wanted to ask, they couldn't because she'd left. And the question, if you're watching, is very, very simple. It's, does genetic engineering mean a disabled person's life is worth less than anyone else's? Answers on a postcard on the back of a Labour Party membership. So there we are. That's the end of the show. That's what the show's about. It's kind of weird, tinkering around with something that could actually create a whole new set of diseases, putting restrictions on people, this huge financial burden, when we could actually just have the donor cards. Obviously, there are two reasons for a donor card. One is it means that someone lives after you die. And secondly, I rather like the thought that one of the greatest challenges to the pharmaceutical industry and capitalism beats within every single one of us. And I think that's kind of cool. Thanks a lot for coming along. Night.
Pigs in there. Pigs in there. Pigs in there. Pigs in there.